Hey friends, how are you doing? Thank you so much for clicking on the video today. I know the length is a little bit daunting, but I promise it will be all worth it in the end. Today I got another speed build for you, and it's a super intricate build. So what we got going on today is kind of a tiny house village in Sulani. So you're going to see me build a lot of different tiny houses and some community places for them all to hang out, all on this big 50 by 50 lot. I think it's probably the most fun I've ever had building anything, and I'm so proud of how it turned out. I know I say that about basically all my builds, but this is something completely different. It's a completely different ball game, and honestly I've been so excited to share it with you guys. I hope you're going to love it just as much as I do. I love having like a lot of sims on it, and I usually don't do gameplay all that much because I don't know, building I guess is just a bit more my thing, but with this lot I swear I've been playing so much and I just want to keep going and maybe make a legacy kind of vibe on this slot. Because you can have all these different storylines going and have all these sims, and I know that the general maximum that comes with the game is 8 sims, but I know there are mods if you want to have even more sims and even more chaos on this lot. I promise you it'll be so much fun. So I kind of based the entire village around this like big huge hill in the middle, like kind of a little mountain. I put the Sulani grill up here, and I think it feeds like 12 people, or 12 sims I suppose, so they can all like share one big family meal up here, and I have these like picnic tables and cute lights and everything going on up here, so it's kind of like the main gathering place for the village. So surrounding this there will end up being I think 4 tiny houses, and then also like a big kind of like community, another community spot for them all, which is just like a big outdoors kitchen with a bar, and then there aren't any walls, but there'll be like a roof and some community toilets, also bathrooms, because most but not all have full kitchens and bathrooms, but I thought it would be fun to have this kind of hippie vibe where you kind of just like put up those walls and made a little bit of house living area, but it isn't really a full house. It's just more like, you know, like the sims just gathered there and used the natural materials and just did whatever they could kind of like muster up in the moment and worked on their own tiny house as much as they wanted to, but I like this kind of like homemade vibe from it all. So for this tiny house I'm building right now, I imagined kind of like a scientist sim. Maybe she's studying like marine biology or something. I actually put a mermaid in there, which is sad because she keeps crying over like the little dead fish on the wall, but I was thinking like I put them up for like science purposes, so that's a little funny. Don't put a mermaid in there unless you want to see her cry. Anyway, I gave her this kind of like extra roof room, which isn't a room but just like this roof part, where she can climb up at night and stargaze, or she can play chess with her friends and like gain those logic skills. For the whole village, I just kind of wanted a lot of different personalities to fit in there, and I wanted to make like tiny houses that fit different vibes, but obviously they are just shells at the end of the day, and they're fully customizable for yourself, but you have this entire shell of like a huge village where the outside is super decorated and the landscaping is really done to the max. Like I've really upped my game on this one, and it's so fun to decorate in Sulani because it's so, I don't know, the nature is just so lush, and you get to play with all these fun plants that are either like big or pink or red, which is so much fun. Alright, so with this house we're going in a different direction. So this is like a family house. I built it for a family of 3. You can probably fit more sims if you want to, but I made these like pink and teal bedrooms, and they were so much fun. I was kind of inspired by a lot of pink and teal things I've seen recently. I think just in general pink is really having a major upturn right now. Like it's super trendy. But it was so much fun to also just like bring in some color into the entire build, and I think it turned out really well in the end. I had to like not paint the walls as well in the corresponding colors. That was a little bit too much, but when I brought in the same color from the outside, the same wallpaper, it just became a much more warm and comfortable place to look at, and I think it turned out super cozy actually. And then they have this like outside area where they can eat together as a family when they don't want to go up to like the community places and eat with everyone. And of course there's a swing set and monkey bars for the child sim, and I was thinking she or he. I put a she in there as you can probably tell by all the pink, because she's a girly girl, I suppose. But yeah, they can just like, I thought they would be like the energetic kind of aspiration. What's it called in English? Like the motion exercise. I think you know which one I'm talking about for the kids. And on the topic of kids, like, have you heard about the new infant update yet? So, no, it hasn't been updated yet, but they released a date for it, and there's going to be like a whole new life stage added in, and it's coming on, I think it was March 14. They just announced it the other day on a Sims live stream. I didn't see it live, but I've seen pieces of it here and there, and they showed a bunch of footage from it, and I know a lot of people are super excited because babies, you know, everyone thinks babies are so cute. I personally am not a huge fan of babies, and toddlers in the game are already a bit much in the best way. I think it's fun to play with the toddlers, but to have another extra like needy life stage before the kids, I know it's super popular and I'm kind of the one with the unpopular opinion, but I'm not that excited about it. I mean, it's cool that they're adding new things, and I've seen some of the animations and they're really well done. I hope they're not going to be buggy. But it is kind of like a huge thing because we've never had like a life stage that looks like this. So I've been playing The Sims basically always my entire life. I started out with The Sims 2, and I think The Sims 2 is probably the Sims version that I hold the most dear to my heart. Like, that's when I really started playing. The Sims 1 wasn't that fun, and Sims 3 never, you know, I already had all the packs to Sims 2, and then you're kind of like, do I really want to spend all the money on the new one when you just start with the base game, and you already have all your families, and you have to learn new things, you know? So I never really got that into The Sims 3. They did have horses, and horses were great. But I've never seen a life stage like the infant one that they're adding now. Like, I know that the babies in The Sims 2 were a bit more fun than the babies now, where they're just like an object. But I feel like they look kind of like just smaller toddlers and not really like infants, at least to me. So it's a little bit weird, but I think it's exciting, I guess. However, it's probably not like the update I would want most of all in the world, I guess. Maybe it would actually be kind of fun to have like a super old life stage. Like, you know, you have, I feel like the grown-up part of your life is generally the longest in real life, so why not make it that in The Sims as well? Alright, so while I've been ranting, I've started on this new tiny house, and this one was more for, I made it for a couple and I wanted them to be like super handy, so I brought in some furniture that kind of looked like they made it themselves, and outside there's a woodworking table, and they're the ones who have chickens and are growing a lot of food, and even with like the water collector and an extra little windmill on top of their house roof that was like planted. I think that was, I really like how that roof turned out. But yeah, they're kind of like the eco like crazy hippie Sims, if you know what I mean. So yeah, this is in the house that's the most colorful on the inside, at least. Like, they brought in some red plants and stuff, but in general I just wanted it to be very natural looking. Like, they just brought in like natural looking wood and stuff that they found outside, and they're kind of like, you know, the more eco-conscious kind of couple. So now I'm starting on the last actual tiny house, and as you can tell, this one is not the eco-conscious kind. She's bringing in a lot of color and a more comfy bed and, you know, cute bedding, and it's an artist living there, also have a tablet and things like that. So I'm thinking that maybe this woman like grew up on the island and went out into the real world for some time and then came back, because, you know, I feel like it's like very community oriented, and when you grow up in a community like that, you tend to kind of come back, at least when it's kind of like a wholesome, nourishing community like I'm imagining this to be. I suppose it's a bit different if you're growing up in a cult that is also very community oriented. Sorry, I probably shouldn't joke about cults since, yeah, I probably shouldn't, but anyway, she has like just a bunch of artist stuff in here, and I loved painting the walls, and it just like, it is kind of like on the other end of the island, or it's not an island, I don't know if it's on an island, but on the other end of like the lot, and I think it's a little bit away from the others, so that's a bit fun, and she's got kind of her own little refuge out there. So her house does not have a kitchen or a bath, which is fine because I included like the community bathroom and kitchen too, and you know, grill, and then I'm also imagining that everyone has kind of an open door policy anyway, because at least in The Sims they always do. Like, strangers will just walk in and you've never met them before, like your sim has never met them, and they're just in your house now and they kind of live there. But yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but in the last build, that had a kitchen, but I also only brought in like an outdoor shower and a woohoo bush for them, so like not everyone has the luxury of like a full bath and kitchen. But yeah, it really shouldn't be a problem because, again, I included so many kitchens on the lot, and here I am building this community kitchen and bar area where there's a bunch of different little tables, and you know, it's just all good, and I'm imagining a lot of the dinners are made there anyway, and a lot of it is just like parties and fun. I would honestly love to live in a place like this, at least if I do like the other people living there. That's a pretty important part of it. But I'm kind of also a hippie at heart, so I was just kind of making my own dream place on this lot. So me and my boyfriend are actually like dreaming of like moving to a farm and trying to like eco-fy it as much as possible, possibly making a little bit of a homestead kind of vibe with some chickens, maybe a cow, because cows are friends and I love them so much, and then just a bunch of dogs. We already have a little dog and she is the cutest little bean on the entire planet and I love her so much. But yeah, we're dreaming of in like a few years moving off into the country and just like trying to kind of like renovate it in a way that has, I don't know, where the idea is to kind of like live in harmony with nature. Like, we want solar cells, maybe our own windmill, and maybe even something like a water collector like in The Sims. I mean, we do want indoor plumbing because, let's be real, I am also a bit of a bougie girl, I suppose. I do like nice things and modern day luxuries. Like, I'm not trying to move out into the wilderness. I know I'm not cut out for that at all, and I'm probably a bit more lazy than I like to admit most of the time. But that's kind of like our dream too. So when I was building a lot like this, I was really just like having the most fun. What's your dream home like? Like, what are you dreaming of when you're building in The Sims? I know I have a friend who really loves like these very clean interiors and like, you know, kind of like the Kardashian vibe. Like, if you have something, it has to be like good quality and then also like a bit minimalist, like just white and peaceful. And you know, when you have like a bit of a cluttered mind, I suppose that was really nice. Whilst I thrive in clutter, which is a bit of a problem because my boyfriend does not. But like, where do you thrive? Like, what kind of place do you want to live in the world? So I'm very lucky that I live in Denmark, which is a country that I think is probably the country that reflects my values the most closely. Maybe Iceland would be a little bit more like it, but at least I know my native language and I'm not sure I'm cut out for moving away from my entire family. So I'm really lucky in that department and very privileged that I get to just like sit here and play Sims, you know? But yeah, tell me in the comments, like, where are you from and where do you want to live? I also once lived in Canada actually, and if I'm ever moving, I'm definitely moving back there. I think Canada, at least again, when you're privileged, and I am, it was a really nice place to live, and I was there as an exchange student, so that's probably like the most privileged you ever get. Like, I was there with Rotary, and like everyone wanted to be my friend, you know, all the old people in the Rotary Club would take me to all these opportunities, and being in a Rotary Club, obviously they come from a place of privilege as well, like they're mostly business people and stuff, so they gave me so many opportunities and just showed me this like beautiful side of the country. And I know there are a lot of less beautiful sides too, but at least, you know, if I were ever to move anywhere in the world again, I would probably pick Canada. Like, I had a lot of fun there, I made a lot of friends, and I miss that community as well. But hey, congratulations, you made it till the end of this video, so now I am finally going to stop rambling. However, I had a lot of fun talking to you today, and I hope you had some fun too watching this build. And remember, it is up on the gallery right now at Santa Sims or something like that. It's in my description below anyway. And yeah, tell me where you want to live. Alright, see you in the next video. Bye!